Welcome back to the TeleWellness Hub podcast. My name is Marta Hamilton. I'm your host and founder of TeleWellness Hub, and today's episode is a very special one because we're joined by someone who truly understands the intersection of healthcare, education, and innovation. I'm excited to welcome Alex Gomez, the VP of Marketing at LegalMed 180. LegalMed 180 is also our newest sponsor. And after learning more about what they're building, it made perfect sense to partner with them. Their mission is all about empowering and helping us to understand the intersection of healthcare, education, innovation, legislature, so that it's more important than ever in today's society to come together, to operate outside of silos. And so in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about what is LegalMed 180, how is LegalMed 180 stepping up to fill gaps that exist. So Alex Gomez, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes. Well, we've been in conversation some with our meetings about LegalMed 180, and we started collaborating. And so I wanted to, typically, we interview experts in the field, clinical experts, medical experts, and people sharing their real life wellness journeys. But I think it's important to talk now. I think this is a really special episode because very rarely do we get to talk behind the scenes of these platforms with the people who are building it, with the people who are strategizing on how to have it enter the market, because really that's the whole impact. We now have this opportunity to utilize the web to really make a difference, to make an impact, to have resources and information available to all at all times. So I wanted to do a deep dive with LegalMed 180 and feature them on this podcast so that our listeners, our providers, the people we serve can all be informed about what this collaboration is about and what you're doing. Because I think it's a wonderful, worthwhile cause, and I'm happy to be a part of it and happy to have TeleWellness Hub collaborate. So my first question is, for all those listening, is what is LegalMed 180 exactly? And what problem did it set out to solve?
Well, LegalMed 180 is a platform designed to break down the silos between law and healthcare. These industries often work separately, even though they both are focused on helping people. So we built LegalMed 180 to bridge those worlds. The problem we solve is that finding the right clinical expert for a legal case can be very slow and fragmented. Attorneys rely on personal networks or outdated systems, which can cost time and ultimately weaken outcomes.
Yeah, so I think, a lot of people don't even necessarily realize, I didn't until, just because of my background, I worked often with Med-Assist rehabilitation. So that's actually how I got introduced to LegalMed 180. The founder of LegalMed 180 also owns a business, Med-Assist rehabilitation, and they are hired by attorneys and have a network of experts. And so I learned through, even though my background is in counseling, I was typically utilized my testing or psychological skills for the purposes of legal cases. So I think a lot of people are always surprised, like when I would share that, even though my background, I'm a licensed as a counselor, I really, all of my intern hours, all of like the foundation of my training was based on these legal cases. And it was really eye-opening for me. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much, like if you have a personal injury case, for example, and you go to an attorney to get support, that attorney then must find, for example, a physical therapist, physiatrist, if you have a head injury, like neurologist, someone who specializes in like spine, orthopedics, to help give their clinical expertise and opinions for your case, for your outcome, which ultimately, that it gives a real concrete objective results for people so that they can fund their therapies, get the medical equipment they need. So there's just so much overlap on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really curious. I'm like, diving down, like you are able to, you saw there's a problem, it's slow and fragmented, right? Like finding the right expert for the legal case. They have to rely on like, who do they know? Or like what, more old school options, I guess you will. So what is Legal Med 180 doing now to facilitate those outcomes?
Well, we're centralizing that process by connecting attorneys with vetted experts who understand both the clinical but also the legal needs that these attorneys need to win cases, making collaboration easier, cases stronger, and ultimately creating a more meaningful, positive impact on people's lives.
Well, and I'm curious because I do know that there are other legal support platforms out there. So what makes Legal Med 180 different?
Well, a lot of legal platforms that exist today are very transactional. It's you search for the expert, you find the expert, you work with them. It's a search, click, and done.
That's
But
like
legal med,
attorneys. You mean attorneys typically, or?
yes, attorneys typically looking on existing expert directories that are out there and other platforms that offer services connecting clinical experts with attorneys. It's very listserv style, very transactional. There's no meaningful collaboration behind their platforms and behind their services. And that's what Legal Med is trying to build. And what we're trying to do differently is
Mm,
really build something around collaboration and a positive impact. By really trying to focus on breaking down the silos between law and healthcare, we're trying to help professionals in both healthcare and legal work together instead of separately, and making that collaboration very seamless and very powerful, so that there is ultimately the best possible outcome for the cases and people's lives.
yeah, and that was my question. Like, how does that impact like our everyday person? Oftentimes people may not even realize, like sometimes as a therapist, you might get a client who's there because they experience, let's say, a medical trauma, physical trauma, or they're going through some hardships that involves legal. And it's interesting the way oftentimes we're trained as clinicians in mental health is like, we don't get involved. You have to be a certain type of clinician who has the protocols and procedures in place to handle certain legal contexts and nuances with your clients. Like some people don't see, for example, any clients who maybe have a child involved in a child custody case. So you want to offer family, like these are people who need family therapy, but they come to you and, we don't always have the training, not all clinicians, or someone might not necessarily work with those clients due to the legal involvement. So I think it's really cool that it's ultimately not just working the professionals bridging the gap, but as someone who sees the need with the people that we serve, it has like real lasting effects. So something I really like that this is kind of when in collaborating together, right? We TeleWellness Hub is partnering to collaborate on the Walk Them Home campaign. And that is really like, we are looking at how do we serve people who are looking for better outcomes in their lives? How can we impact in a tangible way? So can you explain the Walk Them Home campaign for our listeners and why it's so important to Legal Med 180?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is what separates Legal Med 180 from other, expert recommendation platforms as well. Walk Them Home campaign is really at the heart of what Legal Med 180 stands for. It's more about than legal cases or clinical expertise. It's about supporting people who are navigating trauma, injury, and disability, and ensuring that they're not left to face these challenges alone. This campaign was really built for first responders and veterans, that serve to protect our country, protect us, and are brave individuals who are often left alone and having to navigate the healthcare and legal system after serving our country and doing their work, and are facing drama and some really emotional feelings and interactions based on everything that they interact in their day-to-day duty. So we really built this campaign to be there to support them so they don't have to face these challenges alone. Well, the campaign, I just wanted to emphasize that it really does focus on providing advocacy, guidance, and awareness for these individuals, but not just for their individuals, but for their families as well. Because it's not just the individual directly that's being affected, it's
Mhm.
their family. So we want to help them get the proper access to care, legal support, and healthcare resources they need. For us, it's a way to break down the silos between law, healthcare, and community support, because these systems often, operate separately, but people's lives don't. All these different industries, all these different parts of what affected people's lives, affect a person's life, but they're not working together to help provide the best outcome for that individual. And that's what Walk Them Home is really built for, to try and connect that gap.
Yeah, and just, I just want to share for those listeners, because I really wanted to explain. You're going to see a lot of Walk Them Home being mentioned on social media and our blog posts and different initiatives that we're doing together, on TeleWellness Hub, on the TeleWellness Hub website, in emails. If you're if you have a user login that you save different resources on TeleWellness Hub. And again, I love that, this is even part of the initiative. We created TeleWellness Hub, these user logins, so that it's similar to Pinterest. You can register and save resources, almost like your own digital toolbox for provider-curated resources. And a lot of them also, comes from the Walk Them Home campaign. So the idea is, like, no one walks, back in the day when we would, play outside until the lights came on. And, the idea was, like, we would walk each other home. And I know that Leanne often mentions that this is exactly what at the heart of Walk Them Home is. Like, we work together and we make sure everyone has support that they need. And so I wanted to share a little bit about why TeleWellness Hub decided to partner with Legal Med 180 on this. I think our missions are really aligned closely. We're both looking at improving outcomes. For us, something that I really liked is that Legal Med 180 focuses on law and healthcare, because ultimately things like mental health is political. Mental health, we need to involve the law. And so I think that led naturally for Legal Med 180 to be a partner. So I'm curious, I know that you also had been approached other vendors, other people. So I'm curious, for you, to share a little bit with other people, like, what made TeleWellness Hub the right partner for Legal Med 180 from a marketing perspective, if you will.
Well, there are so many reasons. I'll try to narrow it down as best as possible. But TeleWellness Hub, it has been a leader in promoting wellness, mental health, and thoughtful care, which deeply resonates directly with our advocacy work through initiatives just like Walk Them Home. We both deeply care about the human side of the work we do, not just the technical or the transactional aspects, which is really important to us. So partnering with each other allows us to combine our strengths. Legal Med 180 brings expertise in connecting attorneys with clinical professionals and advocating for systematic improvements, while TeleWellness Hub brings an incredible platform for education, awareness, and engagement around wellness and trauma.
The TeleWellness Hub podcast is now proudly hosted by Legal Med 180, a platform bringing together people in law, healthcare, policy, and innovation to improve real outcomes for individuals and communities. We believe better mental health and wellness happen when caring professionals collaborate across systems. That shared mission is why this partnership matters. Check out legalmed180.com to learn more. So how can listeners get involved with Legal Med 180 and the Walk Them Home campaign?
The best place is by visiting our website, legalmed180.com. It's a great place to start. You can learn more about our platform, our advocacy work, and our initiatives like Walk Them Home. You can also learn and see about films and storytelling that we're producing to share stories of advocacy and disability, to bring encouragement and to bring about awareness to different policies that are coming through into legislators so that we can, to legislation, excuse me, so that we can help protect people's lives that are affected by, catastrophic events and injuries and severe trauma accidents. If you're an attorney, you can join the platform to connect with vetted clinical experts and help bring better collaboration into your cases. Clinicians can also get involved by becoming part of our network, which gives them a way to contribute their expertise to meaningful cases while supporting advocacy efforts. And really, for those that want to support our Walk Them Home campaign, there are opportunities to follow the campaign, share awareness, or get involved in our educational initiatives like storytelling and the films that highlight the trauma and disability. We have a Walk Them Home page on our website that shares a lot more information, resources, and a way to connect with us directly so that we can help provide anyone that you are aware of with the help and support that they need. Ultimately, small actions, spreading the word or engaging with our content on social media can really help break down silos and create real world impact. And that's what Legal Med 180 is ultimately. It's our mission.
So for anybody listening, I mean, we thank you for all that. I know it's a lot of information to break down
Yes,
one
sorry.
episode.
Yes, I just want to make sure that everyone knows where to go and how to find it, and ensure that we're talking to all the different listeners that could be listening to this podcast.
And the plan is in the works. At the time of this recording, we're also recording an episode with the founder of Legal Med 180, also with the tech developer, the actual developer behind the platform, just to kind of share a little bit about ethical tech and the importance of impact-focused websites and platforms. So this will all it's a lot of information. It's hard to what I have learned is it's hard to even start to share all the things that Legal Med 180 is setting out to do in its mission. It's a big mission. So it's like small bites, a little bit at a time makes a difference. Like you mentioned, I like that you said that because, the issues that we face can feel so big. And I love that we're working collaboratively, working together. It's not a competition. We can support each other's missions, or there's a lot of alignment for better outcomes for everybody. And so, everyone at some point either is affected by or knows someone affected by health, mental, whether it be, physical health or mental health, which we know is also physical. We're all impacted as for those who live in the States with laws and, Texas. This is really important for me, for listeners. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but Texas ranks last in the United States in terms of access to mental health care. And so I'm just really appreciative for Legal Med 180 to come on board and to help sponsor our podcast episodes again, so that we can really give out high quality content that is educational, that comes from clinicians who have dedicated their lives, their expertise, their student loans, like all the things, all of the commitment to be able to share their expertise in mental health to make an impact and help improve lives. So I'm really grateful because the sponsorship is facilitating that. And ultimately, like, the goal is to just definitely spread the word. If you were going to share, my last question for you, which I usually ask the clinical experts. I usually ask this to the
Okay.
experts. So
Okay.
throwing, just kind of throwing this out there for you. If you were to share with our listeners, something that they're on their wellness journey, can you share something from the perspective of like what you've learned maybe from Legal Med 180 and your involvement with them, like one thing that they could take with them to try with their wellness journey to help, whether they're been on their wellness journey or they're just kicking it off, something to help them with the hope moving forward?
Well, I would say one thing that I've learned is that whatever you may be facing, any individual, there are hundreds, if not thousands, others in the exact same shoes as you.
Mm-hmm.
It may not feel like it. You may seem there's no way. And I'm the only one dealing with these issues. I'm the one feeling like this. Why am I feeling like this? There's no answers. Well, there's no one else that can relate to me. How do I find an individual that can help shed some light as to why I'm feeling this way? Well, what I've learned is that there are tons and tons of experts, especially through our partnership with TeleWellness Hub, of lots of experts that are out there that have free resources. There are lots of other individuals out there expressing themselves, searching for help. There are awareness groups. I see that. I wish, and I'm glad I'm part of Legal Med 180, especially as the VP of marketing, to help market the accessibility to resources, education programs, awareness platforms that can really help guide people through their hardships and their mental health and
Mm-hmm.
overall, emotional feelings of whatever kind of traumatic or any kind of life experiences that they're facing. That there is people out there that want to reach out to you, that want to help you, that want to give you free resources. Either they've been through it themselves, they have family members that have gone through it, and they're just generally out there trying to help others. And really, it's just taking that first step of getting out there and seeing what resources are out there. It can be kind of an intimidating process of actually accepting that you need help and doing that first reach out and seeing what resources are available out there on the web, just doing a general Google search and going from there, or asking anyone else, whether it be a family or friend that who could possibly be going through the same things you are, that that has, and asking what they did, asking for advice. But there's a lot of people going through the same thing you are. There's a lot of smart, compassionate experts out there that want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid and don't be intimidated to get out there and see what is available, because I think you'll be very surprised and optimistic to see that there is help there. There's companies like Legal Med 180, TeleWellness Hub, Medicines Rehabilitation, the Institute for Life Care Plan. The list goes on, and we're all, I think, with Legal Med 180, it's just about us, just like this partnership, making people aware, individuals aware of all the amazing companies and organizations that are out there that are genuinely just want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So they're out there. There plenty of people are facing what you're facing. So don't be scared to reach out and do research.
I love that. I appreciate that. I know I put you on the spot with that, but I imagine just being thrown into this with the background, Fortune 500 companies, and now really diving into this world of healthcare and the law. And it was so well said. So listeners, don't be intimidated. There's so many opportunities out there to find resources, connect with the right help, whether it's law, an attorney, or an expert, or resources about tools that can help you, created by therapists on TeleWellness Hub and other platforms too. Like that's the beauty. What I love about Legal Med 180 is that there's no reason to gatekeep, that they're very big about sharing resources and making a difference. So Alex, thank you so much for being a part of our wellness journey.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It was incredible being able to share more about Legal Med 180 to the TeleWellness Hub podcast listeners, and also, really solidify our partnership and our sponsorship of this amazing podcast. We really truly want to bring about a positive impact in people's lives, and this is a great step towards that.
Yes. So if you need listeners, if you need some good positive feed, some good positive content in your feed, check out Legal Med 180, go to their website, follow them on social media. I think Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yep.
And just maybe train your algorithm to give you some hope for all the positive impacts coming your way and in our way, because we're in this together. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.